Hey, what's up, guys? It's Texmer talking to you here. And yes, this is kind of weird. I'm in my hotel room and I'm on vacation. So my phone is out of charge now, and I decided to try something new. I'm recording this video with my MacBook Pro. Yes, my MacBook Pro. This comes from the 1080p HD camera that I have. And of course, this comes from the microphones. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. Of course, there's a little bit of noise. You can see the beach out there. And yes, the sun is coming out now. I'm currently looking at the screen, so you will be looking at a little bit downwards, but I will try to look at the camera for once. So yes, let's go into the subject of this video, because today I want to talk about the Mac Pro. Yes, the Mac Pro. I do think that Apple will launch the Mac Pro and of course update it with Apple Silicon on WWDC. This is a very important subject because, as you know, the Mac Pro is the most powerful computer on the Apple Mac lineup, and one of the most important ones because it shows you how capable is the silicon from the Mac lineup in that time. Yes, the Mac Pro is kind of the reference where you can see if the Apple Silicon is actually progressing in terms of power to performance, because the Mac Pro is supposedly to be the infinite energy, infinite thermal capacity, infinite everything in terms of it just unleashes the full power of its chip. Yes, the Mac Pro will be one of the most exciting computers to come out in 2022. Even more powerful and exciting than the Mac Studio, and I cannot even imagine that. So yes, I cannot wait for WWDC. That will happen on June 6th. I made a video talking about all of that in my last video. I think it's quite interesting. What should you expect, what I want, what we will be getting, and of course all of the OS and software stuff. But in this video I want to focus on the Mac Pro. In that video I quickly glimpsed it over it and say what I thought, but in this video I will give you all of the leaks and what I do think will happen, my theories, and yes, of course, we don't know until the June 6th event, but I'm pretty much sure what will be coming out. And if we see the Mac Pro, then I think it's very likely that we will get it until the end of the year. So, no further ado, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it if you do. I'm on vacation, so you can see I'm putting on the work. This is not work for me. I love doing this stuff, and so yes, I'm recording these videos. I will edit them. My normal schedule will be coming out 3 videos a week. Don't worry, I will be getting at least 2 from this place. So if you enjoy the MacBook camera, the MacBook microphone, let me know in the comments down below, and I will probably try to continue making these videos. And of course, if you want live streams from this setup, let me know in the comments down below also. But I do think it's very important for you to leave a like and subscribe, because my channel is growing fast right now, and I could not appreciate your support. Almost 10,000 views in my last week. Oh my god, that's so much. Thank you guys for your support. But no further ado, roll the intro. As you know, the Mac Pro, a very interesting computer. The current Mac Pro is the 2019 Mac Pro, and it has Intel inside. It's the last Intel machine that Apple sells, and it has a 28 core, at least up to 28 core Intel CPU. It's a Xeon CPU. So yes, how can Apple top that even further? Well, they already done it with the M1 Ultra, Mac Studio. Yes, Mac Studio is more powerful than the 28 core Xeon Mac Pro in almost every task. Well, almost every task. Not in the GPU. If you have the dual Vega 2, then in some tasks the Mac Pro is a little bit better. So yes, let's see if Apple can bring up their game on the next Mac Pro. What do I expect to come in the next Mac Pro? Well, I do think it's quite simple. I'm expecting the Mac Pro to come with a new chip, at least in the upper end varieties. Yes, upper end varieties. Why do I say this? Because yeah, if you don't know, the Mac Pro starts from $6,000 up to $50,000 currently, and of course I don't think Apple will change their strategy, or at least try to get rid of this Mac Pro. Maybe the upper end class, like the $50,000, won't be available anymore, but at least until $20,000 or maybe $15,000. And so what do I think will start? Well, I do think the Mac Pro will start at around $6,000, the same starting price for the current Mac Pro, but it will come with M1 Ultra, probably 256 gigabytes of storage, and an option to upgrade even further. How do I say that? Well, I do think that the Mac Pro, when coming with the M1 Ultra, the base model one, will be having the option, unlike the Mac Studio, to add even more M1 Ultra slots. So if you want 2 M1 Ultras, which will be the JDI 4 or JC4 that is being currently leaked around the community, yes, I do think it will start with the JD2 with the M1 Ultra, the powerful M1 Ultra, and then you will have the option to put even more M1 Ultras there, and you have 2 M1 Ultras now, and that will be a pretty cool option. If the Apple doesn't put there, then there's a second option, which I do think it's pretty likely also. The one that everyone is talking about right now. It's the fact that Apple will create a different chip, just like Intel created the Xeon family for the high power working enterprise machines, and then they created the Intel i9s, i7s, and i5s and i3s. So imagine the i5 being the M1 Pro or the M1, imagine the i7 being the M1 Pro, the i9 the M1 Max or M1 Ultra, and then the Xeon machines will be the current maybe X1 from Apple. We don't know, maybe that's the most funny name to say, the X1. I do think that this X1 chip will be just two M1 Ultras stitched together by some other technology, and they will be very powerful. The current rumors are saying, and they are coming from Mark Gurman, so I do think they are very believable, they are saying that this Mac Pro will be having at least 40 cores for the CPU, 32 high performance cores, so that's 4 times 8, that's 4 M1 Maxes stitched together. So yes, 4 times 8 and Jesus, 32 high performance cores. That's just crazy. They're just insane. And even more than that, you'll be having, of course, I do think it's 64, no, the M1 Ultra has 64 GPU cores. That's 128 GPU cores for the Mac Pro. Jesus, that's so much cores. And of course, if the current M1 Ultra goes up to 128 gigabytes of RAM, then this Mac Pro should be able to go to 256 gigabytes of unified RAM. Yes, unified RAM. So you heard me right, 256 gigabytes. The current Mac Pro has 1.5 terabytes of RAM. That's a pretty big downgrade for a lot of people. Wait a second. I don't think Apple will be leaving that on the table. Yes, I do think Apple will put an option to upgrade your RAM, but how can you do it if you have unified RAM? Like, Apple Silicon is built on the chip. You cannot change that even after the factory. So how do you do that? Well, I do think Apple will create a technology where they will connect external RAM, so external SSDs, and the unified RAM. So the external SSDs won't be as fast, and you will be able to notice the differences, but you will be able to upgrade that SSD storage and RAM even further down the line. For example, if you want to put 256 gigabytes of RAM on your computer, you will be able to. It won't be as fast as the 256 unified RAM, but it will be fast. Like if you put the DDR5, it will be fast, not as fast as the Apple Silicon one, but it will be fast. And I do think that's the option that Apple will go through. I do think it's the one that makes the most sense. And of course, the storage too will follow the same guidelines. Like, you'll be able to put even more external storage, like if it was an external hard drive, and the system will probably treat that way, because as you know, the storage is also integrated on your silicon, on the Apple Silicon. And so yes, actually on the M1 Ultra Mac Studio it isn't. So I do think Apple will create probably an option with that Mac Studio that you have right now, which is dump storage, external dump storage. Apple probably did that for an experiment for the Mac Pro, and now on the Mac Pro will be an option where you can interchange that, but you will be have to talk about with Apple. So Apple will connect those to your silicon software, so if you try to upgrade it yourself, it won't be possible. But if you want to pay extra down the line on the Apple Store and to buy more, you can bring your Mac Pro, or even Apple sends an over-the-air upgrade and they change your RAM. You can upgrade your RAM down the line, and of course the SSDs, the storage, all of that, and that would be pretty cool. That would be insanely good for prosumers that want more upgradability down the line for their Mac Pro. I don't think Apple will create a steroid version of the Mac Studio. It doesn't make any sense. The Mac Pro has always been the upgradable machine on the Mac lineup, even though when the MacBook Pros were killed in terms of upgradability, the MacBook Air was never upgradable. Even the iMacs killed the upgradability down the line in 2017, I think. And so yes, I do think it's quite likely that Apple keeps the Mac Studio as the latest and the last, of course, upgradable Mac ever, because the Mac Studio, that's all about power on an all-in-one design, not having the screen. But when I say all-in-one, is like you cannot upgrade it, you cannot touch it. It's the perfect machine that Apple built for you. And then the Mac Pro, it's a step above. You have the most powerful GPU, the most powerful CPU, not the fastest RAM, but the most amount of RAM available and the most amount of storage that you want, and you can customize as you want to. Not a steroids version of the Mac Studio, but a completely different lineup from the Mac line, the enterprise Mac. Apple will call it a Mac Pro. As you know, it will be smaller. Going for the design now, I don't think it will be smaller. A smaller version of the current Mac Pro from 2019, a smaller box, like this size. You can see it on the renders on the screen right now. It will be small. These are renders from Luke Miani and Ian Zelbo. They are pretty cool, and you can see compared to the current 2019 Mac Pro, it's way smaller, and it will probably be able to put it on the table. The current Mac Pro is big, so if you put it on a table, it's actually quite cumbersome. But this 2022 Mac Pro, it will be smaller, way smaller than that, and it will probably feature the same design as the holes from the Studio Display XDR and of course the current 2019 Mac Pro, because that's one of the most efficient ways that Apple found to cool a computer or a screen. And talking about a screen, yes, we are also expecting a new display to come up with this Mac Pro because the Mac Pro needs a partner, and their partner in crime is the Pro Display XDR that we saw right now. The Pro Display XDR starts at $6,000, and that's expensive. Do I think Apple will kill the Pro Display XDR with this new 27-inch mini LED display that Ross Young is talking about? I don't. I don't think so, because the Pro Display XDR is 32 inches in terms of size, and the new display is actually 27 inches. So it doesn't make that much sense for Apple to kill the 32-inch and to replace the 32-inch display with a smaller 27-inch. If Apple does that, that's something that they will deal with a backlash afterwards. But I don't think so. I do think that Apple wants to create a middle ground between the Studio Display and the Pro Display XDR, a smaller 27-inch but mini LED, probably 4K or 120 Hz ProMotion panel with 5K. I don't think Apple wants to do that, and that would be pretty cool. And it would be probably starting at $5,000 or $4,000 or even $3,500. They will meet in the middle between the Studio Display and the Pro Display XDR. Yes, imagine a child between the Studio Display, which is 27 inches, but doesn't have the Pro Display XDR's technology with mini LED. So let's see what happens. In my opinion, the best display ever Apple has ever made is the MacBook Pro that I'm using right now. The mini LED display on this computer is just insanely good, and if Apple launches this exact display on a 27-inch size, gosh, that will sell amazingly well, and I cannot wait for people to buy those, review those. If Apple does that and I have the money, I will try to review it, but I don't think I will. Starting at $3,500, that's a big price, and I don't think I have the money for that. But if I do, I will give it a try. Of course, this Display XDR, Studio Display XDR, Studio Pro Display XDR, Pro Studio Display, I don't know how Apple will name it. They will have to name it close to the Studio Display and close to Pro Display XDR, but they won't name it the same. So let's see what happens. I'm very, very excited for WWDC, and as you know, the Mac Pro will be the last computer to go from Intel to Apple Silicon, and after this, well, Apple just has to refresh their lineups. And of course, I could forget, the last computer that has not been upgraded or bring over to Apple Silicon is the 27-inch iMac, but that's a story for another day, like Apple said. I don't think Apple will upgrade that computer this year, but I do think they won't kill it. I do think they will try to make the iMac Pro in the future with the Studio Display design. I have that on my channel, a video there showing you how Apple prepared the Studio Display design to be future-proofed. So they put it even more beefy components than it needed. So of course you could put either a Pro Display, Studio Display, like I was talking about this video, which is 27 inches, has mini LED, so it sips more power and has ProMotion, or they are preparing the next iMac Pro with that design. So let me know in the comments down below if you are excited for the current 2022 Mac Pro with Apple Silicon. Jesus, I'm so excited to see how powerful this computer can get, to see the reviews from Marques Brownlee, from even Drew from Telosive Tech. That guy can review those computers. Let's see. All of the YouTubers, Luke Miani, try and train them out. Let's see. I want to see some comparisons between the Mac Studio and the Mac Pro. And of course, I have a theory for Apple not releasing the latest Final Cut Pro software that they have been testing out with the Mac Studio, and that is the fact that I'm waiting for WWDC to release it with the Mac Pro. So these are my theories, these are my speculations, these are all the leaks that are coming for the Mac Pro. Let me know in the comments down below if you are excited for it, and while you're there, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Well, this was Tech Talking to you here. Bye.